Hey, thanks for joining us on, us. It's just me. Thanks for joining me on the CGS Biblecast this morning. I've been doing these for a couple months now, and I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. If you do enjoy these, please share these videos if you find one that's particularly good. I know those are hard to find, but if you find something that really speaks to you and you thought they can maybe help others, share it out, click like, all those things. Today we'll be in Numbers chapter 13 and verse 25 through 30 roughly. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. Here we go. All right. Maybe some of you can relate to this, but when I saw the scouting report at the top here, I got a little bit excited. Anytime I see scouting report, I'm thinking this is going to be pretty fun. So anyway, so there's a scouting report. These guys go out and they go check out this land that God has promised them, the promised land, and they're just scouting it out. Here's what they report. After 40 days, the men returned to Moses and Aaron and the whole community of Israel at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They reported to the whole community what they had seen and showed them the fruit that they had taken from the land. This was their report to Moses. We entered the land you sent us to explore, and it is indeed bountiful country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit it produces. But the people living there are powerful, and their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there and the descendants of Anak. Skipping down a little bit, verse 30. But Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once to take this land, he said. We can certainly conquer it. There we go. So, you have a nation that has been in slavery for 400 years. And finally, after leaving the Egyptian slavery and traveling around the desert, the Israelites had arrived at the brink of the promised land. They had found it just as it had been described, a land flowing with milk and honey. But despite everything that they had seen God do in the past, countless miracles, like lots of miracles, regardless of all that, the power that God has displayed to them time and time again, 10 of the 12 who were sent to scout the land failed to have the faith that God would provide in a way for them to take possession of it. Even though God had been saying for hundreds of years since Abraham that there would be a promised land and that they would possess it, they did not have the faith. Only Caleb and Joshua had eyes of faith, believing that God had led them there. And it was with his help they were able to overcome the powerful people and large fortified cities. In your life, what enemies or obstacles stand before you today? When you're faced with a challenge that makes you think there is no way, take a step back and reflect on what you've seen God do. Or if your faith is brand new, you don't have a lot of testimonies at this point, find stories of his faithfulness in the Bible and ask other believers around you. Face the future with eyes of faith. God can and will bring you through and bring you to any promise that he has laid out for you. You got to think in your life, there's a lot of negativity. I read this today in this commentary in my ginormous, thick Bible. I mean, look at that. She's thick, okay? So, chapter 13, in here it says, when facing a tough decision, don't let negatives cause you to lose sight of the positives. Weigh both sides carefully. Don't let potential difficulties blind you to God's power to help you and his promises to guide you. Yeah. So there's always going to be a lot of negatives in any situation. You're always going to be able to find lots of reasons to not move forward into what God's promise is, because his promises are never like super obvious. I mean, sometimes I guess they are. And he guides you through your heart and your passions, but you got to think like most of the time there's going to be a little doubt in there because he's pushing you to something that you didn't think you could accomplish on your own. Anytime I've been asked to step out into my calling, there's been a little bit of nervousness there. But I'm telling you, every time that I had gone ahead and stepped anyways into the promise that God had me, it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, but he was faithful to me even in those moments. What is God calling you to do? What obstacle stands before you today? I'm sure there's lots of scouts in the scouting reports telling you of ways that it's not going to work out. But what is God telling you to do? What has God promised you? And do you have the faith to step into that promise? I hope you do. And I'm praying that you do. Lord, give us faith to step into your promise. Help these people realize that and step into greater things today. Amen. Be blessed. Step into greater. Have a great day.